Back to business. Okay, so engagement. Here's the deal. We are now past the you, the us, the yus. You've had your lunch, your perfect client lunch. You've the tree of enlightenment. You've went up. You've had the three. You found the target. Okay? They look, smell, feel like it could be right. Okay? You went up and you found that, hey, they have the demographic, they're the go-to person, and they had an aha moment. You did very intensive identifying and high-level qualifying. Now what? Because time is of the essence. This is about not making mistakes. This is about finding the right person. This is about minimizing the risk. This is about making good choices. Okay? So, the key here, the essence of time. I say this because less is more. Sometimes, less is just less. But with less, you always have more time. So you automatically win with less. No doubt. If time's your champion, if that's where you want to be, if time is of the essence and that is your focus, you will always win with less. You'll always have more time. So, having said that, what we don't want to do is have a bunch of the wrong people to have relationships with. We have to make these decisions. We have to decide going forward that in this piece, in this engagement, the final piece of breaking ground, the final piece that will actually integrate with them in our first steps going forward, we've got the right person. That's a big deal. And most of us, what we want to do in the engagement process is just tell them all about us now. I've heard enough about you. You got to practice, you have a few clients, you've got some people that make sense, you got some big clients, tax problems, you had a group of guys that are good. Obviously option A is not as good as option B. You want option B. I'm ready. Now let me tell you about me. Let me tell you about what I do, who I am, and how powerful I am, how unique I am, how different I am, and then we're going dancing. Then we're going to do this. That's what you want. That's what you want to tell them. Here's my shiny objects. Look, you know what? I'm a Navy SEAL. Here's my gun. Here's this. I'm an astronaut. There's my rocket. I'm an F-14 naval aviator. There's my plane. Right? Right, Clay? Didn't we just get that email from a CPA, right? Who said, hey, Clay had a first lunch. He gets an email from the CPA, and at the end of the email, he says, frankly, I don't know what you're going to bring to the table because my clients want to pay the least amount in taxes they can, of course, within the IRS guidelines, without having an audit. They want to do that, and they are already getting it from me. That's how it ended. Now, the problem with that email is that's a powerful statement. All his clients are paying the least amount of tax they can pay within the IRS guidelines, all by myself with me, which we all know is a lie, right? Which is wrong, but don't attack that. See, if the perfect lunch would have been done right, and this is no attack on Clay because he's further along than most, but reason that email came up is because the first lunch wasn't done right. Because if the first lunch was done right, he would have found out that, hey, how are you doing that? They're paying least amount. Tell me how you do that. How'd you do that? Who does the work? How'd you find out how much tax they owed? How do you know all the solutions? How do you get them the solutions? And how are you able to actually deliver these sophisticated, hard to understand solutions to people that don't understand them? How do they trust you enough? How is that possible? Tell me. I need to know. I'd love to know that. Because I can learn from you. That should have been first lunch material right there. That should have been as we were going up the tree of enlightenment. That's where I would have been finding that out. But the fact is, it didn't happen there, so he's asking it in an email. Forget about the email. That's engagement stuff right there. Don't do it over the email, over the phone, in a fax or a Facebook. No, don't tweet it or LinkedIn link it, whatever it is. Right? No. Sit down face to face and do what? What you're great at. Never forget what you're great at. What are you great at? Stone, what are you great at if you're having these engagement meetings? Amen. What else are you great at?
Leadership.
Right. What else are you great at, Clay? Commune. Let me help you. Say it with me. Everybody on 3. 1, 2, 3. Communication. Okay? So why would you not bring what you're great at? You're in charge here. You set the pace. This is you in control. You're making the decision. So if you're great at relationship, leadership, and communication, don't do it over the phone. That's wasted. And on social media, or a fax or smoke signals, sit down and let those skills lead the way. They haven't got a prayer. They haven't got a chance with you. You own them. And find out what's the deal. So that's it. You can't. Look, remember I told you about my second meeting? The guy says, frankly, I don't see how we can use you, how we can work with you after I flew up to Chico. And 2 hours later, his answer was, I have no idea how we can get along without you. How does that happen in an email? It's never going to happen. If he sends you an email, I don't understand what you're doing, and frankly, we can't use you. What am I going to do? 78-page email back why he's wrong? No, but in person, and that's what's going to happen. So use your skills, which you're great at. You get down there and you do your engagement process, and you find out. And it's not about you throwing your artillery. No, that doesn't matter. Do we have it? Do we have fact pattern analytics? Yes. Do we have cavalier underwriting? Yes. Do we have the anatomy of a case? Yes. Do we have the greatest team in the country? Arguably, yes. So what? There's all your Naval SEAL gear. Go get it. There's the F-14. Hop in. Apollo going to Saturn is right behind me. Step on board. How many of you be alive 25 minutes after you started those engines? They're not good. It's useless. It doesn't matter. But in the hands of somebody qualified, they're powerful. And you're powerful and unique because you're qualified, not because of what qualifies you. Do you get that? You're powerful and unique because you're qualified, not because of what qualifies you. You make that worthwhile. You're the qualified one. You don't bring the solutions. You are the solution. So it's not about you getting in there and telling him how amazing I am at the engagement. No, yes, you need to explain to them what you've got and how you use it. But first, you have to find out about them. Is that your target? Less is more. You make a mistake here and it costs you, it costs you, and it costs you, and it will continue to cost you. And I can't let that happen. And it isn't going to happen on my watch. So you're not going to make a mistake. Because you're going to be painstakingly diligent in this phase. And everybody is going to pick and choose the right one because you are the right one. If you're not right, if you're not the target, if you're not the right person, you won't find the right person. But let's just get here now for planning purposes and teaching purposes. You are. You've been remodeled, transformed, you're ready, educated, capable, committed, and you're concise, and you know what your target is because you're the target. And now you're going to go look for them. You've done the high-level identifying. Now you got to go in and do low-level qualifying. You went in and identified them intensely, and you qualified them high level. Now you're going to come in and do, a little sweep low to the ground and see what happens. You can't do too much here, or else you're going to lose the heat that was generated from the spark. You haven't gained the right to dig too deep. You don't know them yet the way you're going to. And you want to keep the flame alive that was ignited in that first meeting, that first sparky little lunch you had. But you have work to do here. So when you first meet with them, here you are again, you have to make sure that they are on board. Okay? What was your takeaway? And if they're not where you need them to be, you may have to go back up the tree of enlightenment and get them requalified again. You may have to find out where they were. Make sure that they're just as excited as they were when they left. That might be the situation. You might have to do that. But if they are and you don't have to go back up the tree, don't. You don't have to do that. Don't do it. There's no money in doing that unless you have to.